I think something is living inside my dog right now. That did not sound good at all. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing It Lives Inside. So this is the September 4th Regal Monday movie mystery. The triple M, yo. And what is this about? Pretty simple premise. We are following an Indian American girl, which has this interesting thing happening with her friend, maybe her love interest, her family. What's in this mason jar? What kind of monster is this? Did they bring this monster from India to America? Fear. Shame. Shame. Yeah. Shame. 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 It's coming to this household. And did I like this film? It was okay. I have issues now with PG-13 horror movies. They do not make them like they used to. You can say like The Ring, The Grudge, those early 2000s, late 2000s horror PG-13 movies, they actually had some flair to them. Now we're going back to the jump scares, the oh, that's happening, oh, that's occurring. But I'll give props to some of the makeup effects, the practical effects, and some of the things that actually occur on screen. However, unfortunately, this is just a tropey PG-13 movie through in and throughout. But when we talk about the positives, I do think going into this lore of this Indian monster is very interesting and unique and different and puts the audience into perspective of, oh, what else is out there in the world? Because, this is made for an American audience to kind of say, hey, here's another culture that we are introducing you to. And I think that's a really, really good idea to put us into those shoes of like, oh, what do they believe in India? What do they believe in China? What do they believe in Kenya? And that kind of cultural element really opens the door for people that were not used to this or didn't know anything about this. I do think the acting is pretty good overall with everyone involved, even though I would say all the side characters, they're fine. Even the main characters are fine. There's nothing like, oh shit, that person really knocked it out of the park. And then finally, one of the good positives is the practical effect at the end. You kind of get a glimpse of it throughout the movie, but at the very end, we do have a final creature battle, if you want to put it that way. Either you're going to like it or you're not. I had mixed feelings. Like I said, I'm a sucker for practical effects. However, this kind of felt like it didn't belong. The reason I say that is when we're doing these in the shadow moments, you're like, oh, what is it going to be? And then when it comes out of the shadow, you're like, oh shit, that's pretty dope. But then the final putting it in a jar or putting it in a vessel and the special effects of like it doing it really didn't match the before and after what was occurring. And I'll put it this way. Why are we putting big ass monsters into small ass mason jars that could shatter on an instant? There's got to be other vessels, like objects, where you're like, yo, this is like stainless steel, this is titanium, this is carbon fiber. Let's put the monster into something like this, like a lockbox, instead of a Goodwill Walmart mason jar. Like, come on now, we got to be a little bit smarter than that. Of course, when we come to the smartness of it, a lot of these characters are not smart. It's, like I said, the same tropey PG-13 stuff that you've seen in a million other movies before. And I think there was a missed opportunity with the very end. The point of this monster is to give it offerings. So it has to eat raw meat, bloody stuff. Okay, I understand that they kind of give you that lore in the very beginning of the movie. At the very end, they could have done something like this monster is in this vessel and it needs to eat. So let's show it the monster being freaking ham crazy. Because when it was in this vessel eating meat, it would start to shake the glass and crack the glass. But then when we're in this new vessel, you really don't see anything of like any of the after action effects of this monster having an effect on this vessel. So you're just like, okay, I understand what you're going for. In the very end, you're just like, come on, it's so PG-13. I know that you're like, oh, that's unfair, but it isn't. It is kind of fair because at least it's R ratings. You could go there and show this crazy ass gore and like do actually like open the door for new possibilities. PG-13, you are stuck in this realm of like, you know what, we only can do this much gore, this much language, this much terror, this much fright. That's why even though The Nun isn't the greatest movie, it is R and it kind of pushes the boundary. The Conjuring pushes the boundaries. Here, you are stuck at this line and you can't cross it and you should have crossed it, in my opinion. But I understand you want to put this at a cultural level where more people can witness it, so I completely understand that as well. Poor Ross, that's all I'm going to say. Overall, it's a fine, middle-of-the-road PG-13 horror movie. Have I seen worse? Absolutely. I would watch this over Boogeyman any day of the week. I'd rather watch this over the Invitation, that vampire one from last year, which was freaking atrocious. Oh, and then before I give you my final review, if you saw my first reaction, 23 walkouts, 23. 12 of them were just because they realized what it was and they said, I don't do horror movies. I'm just trying to think, like, it's September, it's pumpkin spice season, it's Halloween season. Kelly Wright loves this season. So you need to realize that, you know what? You're probably going to get a lot of horror movies in this time. You have this Saw, you have Five Nights at Freddy's, you have the new Exorcist movie, you have I think I'm missing like 2 or 3 more, which you're like, you know what? Expect horror movies. Oh, Nun 2. Expect horror movies to come out of these things. And I think the other 11 that left, like, I would say honestly, like 10 minutes in to like an hour into the movie, is they had attention spans of a 3-year-old, too young of audience, and the kids just weren't into it, or just the older audience just was like, nah, I can't read the subtitles or something like that. I did have a row of 8 older ladies next to me. I think that's what they do every MMM comes out, because they were in the same movie theater when Retribution came out, and they probably will be in the same one when Saw X comes out, because that's what I really think is going to be the next MMM. So It Lives Inside will receive a 2.5 out of 5 Futons, which equals at 50%. So let's see the critics' news scores gave this one. Pretty impressive. We have an 83 with the critics, with 23 of them. No audience score, because I don't think this movie doesn't come out until 23 September, 21 September. Don't quote me, but it's in like 3 weeks when the official release is. I am interested of what theaters it'll go to, because it is a neon release. It's very limited. So we will see what they could actually do with this release. I could see it doing a cobweb type of thing where it's an R-rated one. This is PG-13, but it only goes to like 700 screens max. So anyway, 83 are my 50. Chase Lock with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One of the things Futon told you, Futon, think what a great day. And I don't care if you watch this today, tomorrow, week from now, month from now, year from now. I love every single one of you. And seriously, let's hope my dog didn't cough up a demon.